we've been doing loads of stuff on, obviously, the Chiefs versus the Eagles here on talkSPORT. And one man that was speaking about that because he's in town and going to the game was Dustin Poirier. He was, of course, as well as talking about the Super Bowl, he was talking about his own last dance because he is going to have one more. The questions were thrown his way. He was talking about various opponents. And, yeah, familiar names did come up. This is what Dustin had to say.
When I look at your record, there's an argument, actually, that you've fought more big names than any other fighter. Who would be your toughest opponent you faced?
Man, that first fight with Justin Gaethje was a war. But also that Dan Hooker fight during COVID was a tough fight. You know, had to dig down. We're both bleeding. It was a dog fight. Those are the kind of fights I love, though.
What about Khabib?
That wasn't like a back and forth. You know, I got beat up pretty good. His wrestling, his skill set is so tough to deal with. I think that helped me prep for the Islam fight, though, just having felt their techniques and their strengths. They do things so differently. But the Gaethje and the Hooker fight were tougher fights.
You haven't fought since last year. I don't know. Where are you up to? You talked about retiring because the Nate Diaz thing won't go away. Is that a fight you want?
Oh, I would love to fight Nate, but the UFC doesn't want to do business with him, I don't believe. He's not in the organization anymore, and they're not even entertaining bringing him back. But my next fight will be my last fight. I'm going to put the gloves down. I'm just hoping to be able to do that here in New Orleans, Louisiana, you know, where I picked him up. I started fighting in Louisiana. I would love to retire here in Louisiana in the summer. And me and the UFC have been talking about this. They're trying to get the state of Louisiana on board, New Orleans on board. And we're pushing for the summer, so I really hope it comes together, man.
Have you ever thought about crossing over into boxing? We've seen it a few times, of course, most recently with Francis Ngannou. Is that something you'd do?
I would love to. I started mixed martial arts because I was boxing. I wanted to be a boxer. And then I found mixed martial arts and kind of transitioned into that, started doing jiu-jitsu and stuff. But, you know, when I do lay the gloves down, I'm not going to try to find these celebrity matchups or influencer fights and stuff like that. When I walk away, I'm done. I've just been fighting for 18 years, and when it's time, it's time.
The full interview with Dustin Poirier and the Boys Off Drive is available on the MMA YouTube channel right now. Go and get yourself stuck in. One of the coolest cats that I have ever met, Dustin Poirier. I was doing a thing ages ago talking about hot sauces. And guess what turned up in the post about 2-3 weeks later from America? Some Dustin Poirier hot sauce. I might even have the bottle somewhere knocking about around here. I normally have it in my studio. Fantastic stuff. I can recommend it. So if you've never had you've never had Dustin Poirier's Louisiana hot sauce, he's got different ranges now. I'll tell you what, he's making a few quid off that little bad boy. Let me tell you, he's the lad. Get yourself stuck into it. Good stuff. Anyway, I don't know why I went off on a tangent talking about Dustin Poirier's hot sauce, because the man has got hot fists. And I absolutely would love to see him fight again. I know he came up short in his title attempt against Islam Makhachev, but it was a fantastic, fantastic fight. Makhachev's one of the pound-for-pound best fighters on the planet, so there's no shame in that. If he's having one last dance, I'm buying a ticket and I'm 100% going to be there. And as he was alluding to there, maybe some former foes will be the guy stood across from him. Hooker, Gaethje winner versus Dustin Poirier at the end of the year. What do you recommend?
I know there's just a few other interesting names knocking about as well. Adam, who would you like to see him against for his last dance?
You're a starer, aren't you? You're a starer. Listen, this division.
I don't know.
This division is incredibly interesting right now. I think we've got a weird scenario because Arman Tsarukyan, I've been told, and this might not be factual, but Arman Tsarukyan is looking to get out as quickly as possible. He's actually looking to try and get out on that Miami card, which is coming up in April. Because of everything that happened, he wants to get the fight done, big contender, and he wants to be in that Islam Makhachev conversation for October time. So the names that are being floated around for Arman Tsarukyan are Michael Chandler. He's in that hunt. Michael Chandler wants to get out and he wants to fight as well. But I was on the understanding that Michael Chandler was heading towards a fight with Paddy Pimblett. And that was going to materialise in the middle of the year. Obviously, if Chandler's going to be fighting Tsarukyan, that might not necessarily be the case. So Paddy Pimblett's obviously floating around. He's looking for an opponent, is he? Could Paddy Pimblett... Listen, I'm being 100% British here. Could Paddy Pimblett be thrown into the mix with Dustin Poirier for Dustin Poirier's last dance? It's a name that might work.
So I don't get how, Adam, Michael Chandler keeps getting these fights.
Name value. He's
Like,
got. He's
on what
entertaining.
planet?
Come on,
Oh,
he's
nah, but
entertaining, isn't he? He's 100.
lad, on what planet does Michael Chandler deserve to be in the ring with Arman Sarukian right now?
No, no. You're right. If we're talking about the best guys against the best guys, for me, Arman Sarukian should maybe listen. Arman Sarukian for me should be fighting Islam Makhachev, but Dana White said that he needs to go and earn
Thank you.
it. So if he needs to go and earn it, then which I think is ridiculous. But if he does need to go and earn it, why not go and do 5 rounds against Charles Oliveira?
Yeah, exactly my point. Michael Chandler's got 1 win against Tony Ferguson, and he's just apart from
He does have
that.
a win over Dan Hooker.
I don't want to use the term.
He does have a win over Dan Hooker, does Michael
Yeah,
Chandler, doesn't he?
no. But like, I'm talking like recently, and I'm just thinking like, we've just been seeing him getting absolutely battered at the highest level. Like, not even competitive fights with the elite guys. I just don't think he should be in there with Arman Sarukian, especially where Arman Sarukian's at right now in his career. It needs to be Islam Makhachev, and I can't believe we're going round the houses again. For what? For what?
So
there's one clear contender.
That's fair. What would you do then with Dustin Poirier? Who would you put him in with? Would you rematch? Would you go down the rematch of the winner of Hooker? Because we're getting Dan Hooker and Justin Gaethje, which is an absolute blockbuster. So
brilliant.
If Dan Hooker wins, he's going to be shouting for title contention, isn't he? Does Dustin Poirier coming off the title loss, does that help? I don't know. I don't know how that works, mate, at 155, because it's a weird division. You just said yourself, there's one clear contender in Sarukian. Oliveira's in that mix. These 2 lads, Hooker and Gaethje, are still in the mix, even though there's losses in there for Gaethje and Max Holloway coming up. What's Max Holloway coming up? Max Holloway coming up. Is that the one for Dustin Poirier?
To fight Poirier, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, they've done it before. Obviously, Poirier.
I like that. I like that fight.
Obviously, won. I think they've done it at 145 and at 155. So maybe these lads.
There you go. You nailed it. That's exactly the fight I'd like to see Poirier in. But like, I'm not being rude. Just take Michael Chandler out of the conversation now. Just don't put him alongside these names no more. He's not showing us that.
Look at it.
No, but
I like Michael
Chandler.
Chandler.
Real, from what I've seen. No, I think he's great. I think he's he's earned his stripes. He's definitely one of them trenchmen as well, like we're talking about, because he's up for it. But when you start
talking about title contender, that's what you're talking about now.
Yeah, we are, but that's but if you're putting him against Arman Sarukian, that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
I think
like we're talking about a guy that should be fighting for the title, facing Michael Chandler, and I just don't think that's.
I know that.
I think it's a pointless fight.
That's fair. All right, sweetheart, calm down.
Yeah, sorry.
I know that Dustin.
I
know that Dustin shut this down, but I kind of wouldn't mind having a bit of a laugh with the Nate Diaz fight for the Last Dance.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know why you shut that down, mate. This is the type of fights people want to see.
Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz.
Imagine Poirier and Diaz for his last fight. Come on, Dustin, lad. Let's get it cracking, as Lewis McGrillen would say.
Get it cracking indeed, mate. Listen, whatever he decides to do, it's going to sell out, and people are coming out for the man that has paid the cost to be the boss, the one and only Lafayette King himself, Dustin Poirier. Great to have him on talkSPORT this week.